Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Calm with Carlyn, yoga and meditation for your everyday life. Today I have a really short class for you. It's yoga for anxiety. So this is a class that you can take anytime that you feel like you just need a good stretch. Maybe you feel like you want to get a little bit more grounded or a little bit more settled. Whatever you're anxious about, hopefully this class can bring you some peace. We are going to start in a hero's pose, so I will see you there when you're ready. So for hero's pose, I'd like you to bring your knees to touch and then bring your feet a little bit wider with the top into the mat, and you're going to sit your seat in between your heels. So this is going to start to create a stretch in the top of the legs. If for whatever reason this is uncomfortable, you can always just sit on your heels in a normal seated position or find anything that works for you. From here, if it's comfortable, take your left hand to your heart, and if it's comfortable, take your right hand to your belly. We're going to start by taking a couple deep breaths together, breathing in through the nose. Feel the belly rise, and then breathing out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Keep going just like that for a couple rounds. And take your last big breath here. And at the bottom of the exhale, if you close the eyes, go ahead and blink them open. You can stay here in your upright hero's pose. If you want to add a little bit more of a stretch, hands behind you, and you can stay here. Or if it's comfortable, maybe you come down to your forearms. If this is your first stretch today, this might be a lot, so feel free to stay wherever you feel good. And then, of course, you can come all the way down onto your back. I'm not going to go there because this is my first stretch today, but if you're feeling open, feel free to do that. And just take a couple breaths here, feeling nice and open in the chest. Maybe you tilt your head back slightly. And then whenever you're ready, you'll come out of this pose in the reverse direction that you came into it. So if you're on your back, you'll come onto your forearm. You'll come onto your hands, and from there, you'll come to an upright seated position. And from here, we'll take it to a tabletop position, stacking your wrists underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Let's just take a couple big circles with the hips here. Rounding, drawing circles with the hips and the shoulders, and then take it in the opposite direction. And then when you're ready, come back to your tabletop position. We'll take a couple rounds of cat-cow. On the inhale, on the inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And on the exhale, tuck the chin, round through the spine. Maybe you press the tops of the feet into the mat as well. And then you come back to the toes, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale, tuck the chin, round through the spine. Move nice and slow, really feeling that articulation of the spine. And focus on your breath, but also focus on the movement that's happening in the body. Think about each vertebrae of the spine moving slowly. Think about the hands pressing down into the mat And as you really focus on this movement, maybe some of those intrusive thoughts or thoughts about whatever your anxiety is coming from today, maybe they start to dissipate. And even if they come back up, just bring your focus back to the body, bring your focus back to the breath. Take one more round of cat-cow wherever you are. And then when you're ready, come back to your neutral tabletop position with the toes tucked. And from here, we'll move into a puppy pose. So keep those hips stacked over the knees. Just walk the hands forward. Keep the hips nice and still. And when you reach that place where you're really feeling this stretch in your shoulders, you feel like you can't move the fingertips forward anymore, just melt the chin, the chest, the forehead down to the ground. And take 3 deep breaths here. Sigh your exhales out the mouth. At the bottom of the 3rd exhale, start to walk the hands back in towards the body, but stop when the wrists are just slightly in front of the shoulders. And from here, we'll move into our first downward facing dog. And from your downward facing dog, find any movement that feels good. Maybe you pedal through the knees, bending one at a time as you straighten the opposite leg. Maybe you lift the heels, coming onto the tippy toes, and then melt them back down to the ground. Maybe you just stay in stillness. Tap into your body, tap into your breath, and find out what it is that you need. Do what feels best, not what looks most aesthetically pleasing or what you think is most challenging. Just focus on how you feel in these postures. And if you haven't already, come into stillness in your downward facing dog. Start to bend the knees ever so slightly, and we'll walk our hands back to our feet. And then from here, we'll come into a ragdoll position. Knees bent, chest over the thighs, grab onto opposite elbows. Use this moment to let go of tension. Tucking the chin to the chest, releasing the back of the neck and the upper back. Maybe you take some slight ride. And then when you're ready, bring the hands back down to the ground and walk yourself out to a downward facing dog. Take an inhale in your downward facing dog. Stay for the exhale. And then on your next inhale, come forward into a high plank. So this is all about how we feel. So if you feel like you need more support today, go ahead and drop the knees before you lower all the way down to the ground, coming on to the belly. Take an inhale, lift up, baby cobra, nice and tiny. And then exhale, lower down. Tent the fingertips on the outside edges of the mat. Bring the elbows to a 90-degree bend. Take an inhale, lift up. And an exhale, lower down. And keep these cactus arm shapes. Bring the forearms down to the ground, keeping the right forearm bent at a 90-degree angle. Take the left fingertips right outside of the left side of the chest. Kick that left foot towards the seat, and then start to roll on to your right side. Maybe bringing that left foot behind the right. And feel that opening in the right shoulder. And then when you're ready, come back through center and we'll switch it out. Bring the left forearm to a 90-degree bend, cactus that arm, right fingertips tent right outside of the right side of the chest. Kick that right heel towards the seat and start to roll on to your left side. Maybe those right toes touch the ground behind the left leg. Maybe they don't. Wherever you are, just take nice deep breaths. And then as you're ready, make your way back through center. And then come on to your belly. Take an inhale, lift up, baby cobra. And on an exhale, sit back into your child's pose. Now, sometimes when we're feeling anxious, coming into child's pose is actually not helpful. Sometimes we feel a little bit trapped, being kind of curled up in this ball. So come into child's pose, but if that doesn't feel right in this moment, just come to an upright seated position, keeping those child's pose legs. Wherever you choose to be, take a couple deep breaths. One more breath wherever you are, and then we'll all come to that upright seated position, and we'll make our way onto our seat, bringing our legs out wide so you can come to the long edge of your mat like I am if you'd like. And then from here, we'll just start by taking a side body stretch. Reach the fingertips up to the sky, grab onto the left wrist with the right hand, and just take a little side body stretch to the right. Feel that left side of the body opening. Nice big breaths. Take an inhale, come back through center, reach the fingertips up to the sky, grab onto the right wrist with the left hand, and then take your side body stretch over to the left side. Big deep breaths. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, come back towards center, bring the hands down to the mat. Stay wherever you'd like. You can bring the feet in closer together or a little bit wider, whatever feels better. And then just walk the hands out in front of you. Start to straighten through the legs, straighten through the arms rather, but keep your spine nice and long. Keep gazing forward. Resist the urge to round through the spine like I'm doing here. And just keep that gaze forward. Take nice deep breaths. We're not straining the neck. It's nice and long. If your arms are straight, your gaze is probably right in between the thumbs. Now let's go ahead and walk those hands over to the right side, keeping them as straight as possible, keeping the spine as long as possible. Feel a slight twist in the torso. And then when you're ready, take it over to the left side. And then when you're ready, come back through center and walk yourself all the way upright, bringing the soles of the feet to touch, bringing the knees out wide. And this time we'll find a nice wide diamond shape with the legs, and we will just round forward, taking the hands to the feet, tucking the chin to the chest, creating a C curve in the spine. So this might create a little bit of tension in the back of the body as we're stretching out through that back side. If you feel that, I just want you to think about every inhale creating space in the body, and every exhale letting go of some of that tension, even if it's just a droplet, just a tiny little bit of tension that you can release from the body. And if you can visualize it leaving the body, it is easier to physically feel that tension leaving the body. Sometimes, not always. Take 2 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, come up back to your seated position. Take your hands behind your back. Bring your feet down to the ground. Cross that left foot on top of the right knee or thigh and find this seated figure 4 pose. Keeping the chest nice and proud here. Flexing through the left toes as you gently press that left knee away from the body. Feel the opening in the left side of the hip. And then when you're ready, switch out the legs, bring the left foot down, cross that right foot on top of the left knee or thigh, flexing the right toes, pressing the right knee away from the body, keeping the chest nice and proud, feeling that opening in the right hip. And then when you're ready, come back through center. And we'll find that hero's pose that we started class in, bringing the knees to touch, widening the feet and sitting the hips in between the heels. Maybe bring the feet a little bit closer so the heels are touching the outer edges of the seat. And this time, just keep your hands on your thighs. Relax the shoulders, maybe you roll them down and back. And let's close. Deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in to fill up belly, chest, and lungs. Exhale, let everything go. Do that twice more on your own. When you're ready, blink the eyes open. Bring the thumbs to the third eye center. And keeping the thumbs and the pinkies touching, peel the 3 middle fingers away from each other, creating an opening to let the light in. Reminding yourself that even in these anxious moments, there is always light to be let in. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. So when we're feeling anxious, we don't always need to get this rigorous workout in. We don't need to have a hot and sweaty yoga practice. Sometimes just a little bit of gentle movement and breathing is all that the body needs. So hopefully this is helpful for you. Like this video, leave a comment below. Let me know how it went. Follow me on Instagram at calmwithcarlyn. You can visit my website, www.calmwithcarlyn.com. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and share, and I will see you next time.